Again, that long-awaited quest for an NBA championship. But there are a lot of obstacles in the way. Of course, obstacle number one, the Seattle Supersonics. This morning, the Sonics were here at the Coliseum preparing for tonight's game. Now, of course, the team's very young, with second-year player Shawn Kemp and rookie Oregon State standout Gary Payton leading the way. Inexperienced as they are, though, the Sonics are tough. They lost to Portland in all 4 regular season matchups, but every game was a close one. Now, we tried to get into the Portland Trail Blazer practice all week long. We've been trying to get in. Coach Rick Adelman doesn't want the media bothering the team.
Hey, can't blame them. Well, we have a special guest appearance here this afternoon. Eric Johnson joins us with a retrospective on this season and also the postseason expectations.
I'll tell you what, expectations are at an all-time high around here. You walk around the street, I'm sure you guys have. People don't say they're going to do good, they're going to do well, they might get past the Sonics. People are saying they're going all the way to the finals. Might not be entirely realistic, although they have a very good chance. Don't forget the Western Conference is chock full of great teams. Utah, Phoenix, San Antonio. Don't forget about the Lakers. It will be tough just getting past the Western Conference, let alone getting past the finals. But of course, fans have good reason to be excited. After all, they have just finished watching a truly brilliant regular season. On opening night, they hung a banner at Memorial Coliseum to celebrate last year's Western Conference Championship. From that point on, there was no looking back for the Blazers. This was a new team with a new mission. Danny Ainge had been added in the offseason. Cliff Robinson was a year better and more mature. Everything fell into place right off the bat. The Blazer fans were in for their best ride in 13 years. There was the triple overtime thriller in Seattle, a game the Blazers should not have won, but did. There was the first meeting with San Antonio, in which they led by an amazing 49-18 score after just 1 quarter. Every game, it seemed, produced more surprises, more wonderment, and more wins. Portland was a city of believers with the season not even halfway over. The All-Star game was a Blazer bash. 4 players and the entire coaching staff took Charlotte by storm. There would be a rough streak before all was said and done, though, a stretch when they lost 8 of 11. But then in March came a week of miracles. Against the Sonics again, they were down by 24 in the 3rd quarter and charged back to win somehow. 2 nights later in Los Angeles, the Lakers led by 21 in the 3rd. Again, the Blazers won on sheer will. They wound up winning 16 of their last 17. It was the best Blazer regular season ever.
What do you think they're going to do this year?
They're going to kick butt.
All the way?
All the way.
No doubt?
No doubt.
Fan expectations in Portland are at an all-time high. It's no longer enough to make a good showing in the playoffs. Everyone is talking title these days in the Rose City.
I think people fail to remember that how close the West was this year, and it's going to be very tough.
I don't think we can pay attention to what everybody says, whether they think we're going to win or whether they think we're going to lose. I think we feel that we are a very good team, and as long as that doesn't affect us, that should only help us, I think. I think that should give us a confidence to feel that we have the ability to go all the way.
The first hurdle, the Seattle Supersonics, 0-4 against the Blazers this year. But even if the fans are looking past the Sonics, the players most certainly are not.
I told the team, you don't worry about whether you're going to win a championship. You worry about where you're going to win tomorrow night. And after tomorrow night, then you worry about Sunday. And that's the only way you can approach it, or you're going to get beat. And
it sounds like such a cliche, taking 1 game at a time, but I think that's really the key for the Blazers right now, not to look past this series, get caught up in all the hype, worry about who they're going to play, Phoenix or Utah. They've got to look at the Sonics right now.
Easier said than done.
Sonics are a good team.
Yeah, they are. You've been talking with the coaches, players all week long. Any chance they're going to be complacent? I mean, they're #1 seed. The Sonics are #8.
They're always going to tell you, no, we're not going to look past anyone. They're going to use the 1 game at a time cliche, but I really don't think they are. They've closed off practice. They don't want to get wound up in all the hype. I think they're going to be ready.
Okay. We'll see you again at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks, Eric. Portland and much of Oregon and Southwest Washington has a bad case of Blazer fever.
But enthusiasm for the guys in red and black actually goes well beyond the borders of Oregon. Portland recently ranked #3 in a national survey of the best places to locate a business. And get this, the president of the Association for Portland Progress says she's totally convinced that the Blazers are the reason why. Ruth Scott says all the positive exposure the Rose City received during the last NBA playoffs made national chief executive officers take notice. So what's good for the Blazers turns out to be good for Portland business development as well.
All right, health editor Mary McDermott joins us now. You know, keeping
Presto changeup. I thought it was Eric Johnson here a couple of seconds ago.
Magic of television, right? You know, keeping these professional athletes up and running must be a full-time job for somebody.
Somebody, I think a lot of people. We talked with one of those somebodies yesterday and got a feel as to why the Blazers have been so injury-free all season. If it were possible to cross your fingers and knock on wood at the same time, that's probably what the Blazers would be doing right about now. They're hoping the good luck they've had with their health all season will follow them right into the playoffs. They haven't won the championship yet, but so far the Blazers have won their battle for good health.
We certainly have never had any better, and I think probably this team is the very best.
And this is the man who knows. Dr. Bob Cook has been the Blazers team physician for 16 years. He says the team is filled with players who are highly motivated and understand the importance of off-season training. The season hasn't been completely injury-free. A broken foot forced Mark Bryant off the court and into rehab. But for the most part, the Blazers have remained remarkably healthy. Kevin Duckworth's report card this season, chronic tendonitis in his knee, which is now under control. Buck Williams had a serious eye injury during the playoffs last year, but all he's had to worry about this season is a groin strain. Clyde Drexler has had tendonitis in his shoulder and bursitis in his knee, but the team doctor says he's in great shape now. Jerome Kersey had a calf strain, but he's now fully recovered, and all Terry Porter's had to complain about are some minor aches and pains. But with the playoffs comes more intensity, and that intensity, says Dr. Bob Cook, increases the risk for injury.
I guess things get a little more ballistic, a little bit more powerful, a little more fluid, and it's a little bit different chemistry. It's a little higher in the physiologic RPM range, so to speak.
So Dr. Cook will be on hand at home and on the road, and he'll be hoping his services won't be needed.
I absolutely hope just to be a fan throughout the playoffs. That's my greatest hope and expectation right now.
Dr. Cook says there's one factor that is keeping the Blazers healthy this season that he has absolutely no control over, and that is pure, unadulterated luck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It always plays a part if you're going to win a championship, too. You know, I would guess, and from what I know, training techniques have really changed a lot over the years. The Blazers don't just individually go out and hope to stay in good shape.
Right. We were talking about that during the story, that, you know, we know so much more about nutrition now than we did before. They have nutritionists working with the players now. Yeah. They know a lot more about conditioning and weight training and that kind of thing. So who knows? That might play a part in it, too.
Easier for a peak athlete to stay in that peak condition.
Looks like it. They sure are, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Mary. Okay, you bet. Well, we still have a lot more to come today on this special Blazer edition of First at 4. Tickets are pretty darn hard to come by. Tom Fuller, our consumer editor, is going to fill us in on that, as long as the latest on trying to get a new arena here in Portland.
And we'll meet the general, the Blazers field general, Coach Rick Adelman, when we come back.
They'll do in the series against Seattle.
I think they'll crush them.
I think they'll do it in 3.
What, 3 games, knock it off?
I think it'll last about 5.
Oh, you think it'll go all 5 games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think they'll take it in 4.
4 games.
3.
3
or 4, yeah.
3 or 4.
2, 7 for you. 1, 2, 3. Golden City. 3. What a sight to see. 1, 2, 3. Golden City.
That music you were hearing, by the way, is 1, 2, 3 Rip City, put together by the radio station Z100 and the Blazer Crunch Time Choir. We'll be hearing a little bit more of that and look a little bit closer at it a little later on. Well, if you were thinking about coming to games 1 and 2 of the series between Portland and the Sonics, better think again, folks. Those games were sold out Tuesday afternoon when the Blazers announced the sale of the remaining tickets 5 minutes before they were available. Portland has an NBA record, as you just saw, for most consecutive sellouts at more than 600 games.
Well, one remedy they're talking about is a bigger place to play where they can sell more tickets, and Tom Fuller is here to talk about that today.
Wouldn't that be nice to have?
As long as we didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah. You always got to pay the piper, though, huh?
Yeah. I have a guess the taxpayer will play in this somewhere, don't you think?
I have a feeling that, you know, in these days, you got to do it. You know, it's the old law of supply and demand. When demand goes up, supply is supposed to go up to meet it. But when it comes to Trailblazers games, you got to throw all those rules right out the window.
One of the most exciting things to do in the Tri-County area is to see a Portland Trailblazer game. You can just feel the level of intensity in the Coliseum when the Blazers are hot. And watching it on TV isn't anything like being there in person.
But the problem is getting a ticket to be here. The Memorial Coliseum was built 30 years ago. For basketball, it's designed to hold 12,600 seats. Starting this fall, the Coliseum will be the smallest basketball arena in the National Basketball Association. And as the popularity of the Portland Trailblazers goes up, so does the demand for more seating.
Doesn't sound like it.
There were some unhappy fans Tuesday at G.I. Joe's in Beaverton.
Just ran out right here. Can you believe it?
No more tickets for games 1 and 2. You can still see the game for $15, though, on cable TV. All this raises the question once again, why not build a new home for the Trailblazers? And as before, it all comes down to a question of money.
Well, that's, of course, the problem. As you know, public funds are short, and that's really the problem that the committee I'm working with is wrestling with.
Pam Erickson is the project manager for Metro's Regional Facilities Study, began last fall. She says 30 years ago, the Memorial Coliseum cost $11 million. To build a new one today would cost between $70 and $200 million. Last night, the subcommittee working on the idea of paying for a new arena submitted its report. The committee recommends a private-public partnership fund a new arena on a site to be picked by the Trailblazers. Various sites have been bantered about, but so far the Blazers have been silent on their choice. But something will have to be done soon. By 1994, Metro says the Coliseum will no longer be profitable because its cash surplus is being drained off to support the Performing Arts Center and Civic Stadium. And the Coliseum itself is getting old. The machine that makes the ice will have to be replaced soon at a cost in excess of $1 million. The convention facilities are spartan and in need of painting at the least. And the worst news is that all spaces for production, seating, and concessions have been used to the max. The study submitted last night indicates that Portland is now losing major events each year because there simply isn't enough room for them at Memorial Coliseum.
Now, yesterday, a local radio station reported that the Blazers had indeed chosen a site for a new arena. Now, yesterday, we tried to get an interview with the Blazer organization to talk about that very thing, but they were unavailable. Then this morning, the Blazers announced they were calling a press conference to, quote, review their position on a new arena. That press conference will take place a week from Monday. By the way, in reaction to that radio report, the Blazers say they didn't talk to us about it.
So they're still not saying anything that we
Not a thing. We've got at least 4 or 5 sites that are all around the Tri-Counties area. We may know, though, fairly soon. Once they pick a site, I think the balls will start rolling in place.
Well, I know that new owner Paul Allen definitely wants a bigger place for his team to play.
It's the only way to go in the future, I think.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tom.
We're continuing live here from the Coliseum. How many hot dogs do hungry Blazer fans eat? Well, in a minute, we'll take you behind the concession stand counter for a sneak preview of tonight's Goodie Plan preview.
And a little later on, Blazer souvenirs. They're a black and red hot item. Stay with us. Who do you want to see the Blazers play if they make it to the NBA Finals?
Well, the Bucks.
I suppose Chicago.
Michael Jordan?
Yep. Yeah. That would be it.
I'd like to see them play the Bulls.
Who would you like to see the Blazers play if they make it to the Finals? Have you thought about that?
I haven't.
No. Just as long as they get there?
As long as they get there.
Few people would dispute the fact that this year's Portland Trailblazers aren't getting the national recognition that they deserve, but they are getting some recognition from some notables around the league. Let's look at some quotes as the playoffs are about to begin. Former Laker superstar Kareem Abdul-Jabbar says, "I think Portland's sure to be in the finals. They've been the most consistent team all year. They are my pick to win it all." Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz says they've got a hell of a team over there, 2 teams actually. And Vinnie Johnson of the defending world champion Detroit Pistons, "I didn't have to be sold on the idea that Portland was a great team, but now they have even more weapons. Danny Ainge has that championship quality. Portland will be tough." Now, last week, you may have seen it on an NBC telecast. Former Laker coach and now NBC commentator Pat Riley said that he thinks the Lakers are going to take it all this year. He thinks that their experience will win out over the Blazers in the Western Conference playoffs. We think you're wrong, Pat. Blazer fans aren't only hungry for action, they're just plain hungry for munchies.
The company that runs the concession stand plans to be very busy tonight, and that's nothing new. On an average night, Blazer fans wolf down 2,000 hot dogs at $1.75 each, more than 1,700 tubs of popcorn, German sausages, and that's just the beginning. Concession workers will sell 600 bags of peanuts, 800 cups of ice cream, and to wash it all down, how about 700 cups of coffee and 5,000 cups of soda? And that's all to go.
Well, what a difference a year makes. Eric Johnson touched on it a little bit earlier. There's an entirely different atmosphere and set of expectations this year. A lot of folks in the Rose City will accept nothing less than a championship.
1 year ago, Blazer Mania reached a fever pitch. Each game and each win solicited intense emotion from fans. Portland went into last year's playoffs with a string of first-round losses, so fans hoped for wins. They did not expect them. As each challenger fell by the wayside, the faithful thanked their lucky stars. But in 1991, expectations have changed dramatically.
Do you expect them to win it all this year?
Yeah.
That expectation is nearly universal in the Rose City. Some express it more emphatically than others.
I think the Blazers are going to win.
Think they're going to win it all?
Yeah.
Is that what you expect?
That's what I expect.
How do you think they're going to do this year?
Probably going to win. I'm sure we're going to win.
Oh, you're sure we're going to win? You'll accept nothing less?
No.
I think they're going all the way. They have to.
Why do they have to?
Because my grandson and son and myself insist that they do. And they're the better team.
And the famous are confident.
They're going to take it. They're going to go all the way. They're going to get even with Detroit for last year.
Even those faithful to other teams expect Blazer victory. This man's from Massachusetts.
I think they'll beat L.A. And I think they'll beat Boston, even though I hate to see it.
Yes, confidence shared the air equally with raindrops today. The atmosphere is very different from 1 year ago.
I think they're going to kick butt and take names. That's what I think.
And in just a moment, we will talk with Coach Rick Adelman about those expectations and what they mean for his Portland Trailblazers.
Also, it's about time we heard from Joe Satilli again on the weather, so he'll be back when we come back.
Blazers gonna rock it, and if you wanna win it, then you gotta clap your hands now.
News, and Kathy Smith brings that to us now. Kathy?
The trial is now underway. We'll have the latest. Still in Salem, Michael McCormick is sitting in the Marion County Jail. The double murderer is back in Oregon after escaping from the state hospital. We'll tell you where he's going next. And the leader of a national neo-Nazi group is in Portland, recruiting new members and organizing a protest next month which will demand the release of Mulugeta Sera's killers. We will have complete details of these and other stories as the news continues at 5 o'clock. Larry and Ann?
Looks like a busy half hour coming up. Thank you.
Well, we talked earlier about the high expectations for the Blazers leading into the playoffs. Well, this week we talked with Blazer coach Rick Adelman about those expectations, about pressure, and about perspective.
Adelman's in only his second full year as a pro basketball head coach, and what an incredible 2 years it's been. Last year, the NBA Finals. This year, the league's best record and the favorite to win the championship.
Is it easier to get distracted when national folks are saying, oh yeah, the Blazers are going to win it all this year?
I guess if you thought about it a lot, I guess it would be. I think, again, I think that's more outside of the team. We don't take a lot of stock into what experts say, supposedly experts say, because they're usually just, they have their own opinions, you know, and because someone picked us doesn't make any difference, or someone doesn't pick us, it doesn't make any difference. It's what happens on the court that counts.
And it's Adelman's job to make sure it's the court the Blazers are thinking about. But he does not consider himself a motivator. He says his key role is getting the players to concentrate.
A lot of them have worked hard just to get in the league, and they're not going to let anything slide by for their chance to succeed. At this time of the year, there should be no reason to motivate anybody. If you're not ready at this point, after what we've gone through and the opportunity that's sitting there in front of us, then you're never going to be motivated if you're not motivated now.
And these players are motivated. They were close enough to smell the championship last year. This year, they can taste it. So can the coach, but he puts this game of basketball in perspective.
I try to keep in mind that you're going to be disappointed if you lose. You're going to have some regrets and think about what you could have done differently, but the world's not going to end.
there's a lot of other things that are just more important than that.
Like family, a part of his life Adelman regretfully is forced to neglect. Yes, the taste of an NBA championship would be sweet, but if he loses, Rick Adelman won't let defeat ruin his appetite for life.
Coach Adelman says his Trailblazers are confident going into the playoffs, and yes, they do expect to win, but he also knows, like everybody else does, it takes a little bit of luck to win an NBA championship.
Rick Adelman has wiped up the courts as one of the winningest coaches in Blazer history. Only Jack Ramsey has more wins with 453.
But Ramsey and Adelman are far from the only notables on the Blazer roster. Here are a few things you may not know about your favorite Blazers. I didn't know this myself. Jerome Kersey spends his free time collecting matchbooks. Pretty thrilling guy,
you know, he travels to various places and picks them up, puts them in his pocket.
That's right. Buck Williams is working to get his pilot's license, and that brings us to our Blazer quiz today. Which Blazer has had success on the dog show circuit? Here's your hint. He's one of the Blazers' starting five. Here are a minute or two to think it over. We'll have the answer for you when First to Four returns.
We get the job done. 1, 2, 3, Golden City, 2.
Channel 8's Good Evening invites you to a wow wedding with corner-cutting ideas that don't cut style. We'll show you what to do for the I Do's tonight at 7:30.
People are pouring into Pizza Hut for a great new lunch deal. Because right now...
The Trailblazers that had the best record of any team in the NBA, well, you'd think they seem a little worried about all this good press.
The Portland Trailblazers are behind that curtain, and we're not going to get to watch them.
Well, we got a lot of secrets we want to protect.
The Sonics pay no problem. Everyone is welcome. Even the cameras from Portland capture whatever they want. The Blazers are way down there. You can sort of see them, but we're not going to get in. The door's locked.
This is the playoffs. Welcome to the playoffs.
Sonics coach Casey Jones's team is as ready as it will ever be. They've heard the talk. Blazers in a cakewalk. But neither they nor the Blazers buy that.
It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a better series than what people think. You know, Portland's expected to win it, and, you know, it starts with us. And it's not like we're here to roll over and die.
But the way the Blazers are treating us, you'd think that they're afraid they will.
The only thing that I've had to try to deal with this week is making sure our people realize that you're not as good as your press clippings, and because the regular season makes no difference in what happens in the playoffs. All you got to do is look at Phoenix last night, going home and fighting all year for home court advantage. You're going to beat by 40. I mean, that should be a wake-up call for everybody who thinks that home is the answer.
We really have anything to lose in this whole situation. Everybody expects us to fall eventually. So, you know, I think that makes us a very dangerous team.
See, the Sonics are loosey-goosey. They have nothing to lose in this. They barely got into the playoffs. Portland has everything to lose.
Exactly.
And in the 4 games where Portland won this year, Seattle was in every game.
Exactly.
Every game. So this could be real interesting.
I agree.
Sort of bad luck then, in other words.
Yeah, but if you're going to ask me who's going to win this thing, it'll be Portland in 3.
Okay. Also, you should know, Lou, you haven't been singled out. They wouldn't let us in the practices either.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
It's the Portland media.
I feel better
Don't feel
then.
bad.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Lee.
Will show their team spirit and colors as the Blazers take on the Sonics. Rosie Fiallo reports on the changing face of Blazer collectibles.
We've got T-shirts, we've got basketballs, we've got pens, we've got keychains.
These days, you can find just about anything with your favorite sports team logo on it. And these days, no other team exists in Portland except for the Trailblazers.
What looks good to you here?
I like everything up there, actually, anything that says Blazers.
Die-hard fans like Dwayne Johnson are in luck. Souvenirs including Blazer T-shirts and basketballs are back. And this year, the hoopla goes beyond the traditional.
What's the weirdest item you have?
The weirdest item we have is these earrings right here. They're big, round, little balls. That's for the shy Blazer fan. These bottom drawers. We have a portable miniature basketball game. You put it just right on your desk. Just sit it right there wherever. It's got a little ball, and you just sit there and throw basketballs.
Is that coming to small? Blazer Mania means big bucks for the souvenir industry. This stand netted $500 in just 3 hours.
How much will you spend on a Blazers item?
Oh, probably 20 bucks or so.
What'd you end up buying?
A T-shirt and a keychain.
There you go. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
There's something to please every fan craving for a piece of the Blazers, including the little ones. and prices range from $1 to $100.
No matter how you show your team spirit, remember you're never too young or too old to support the Blazers. Just remember 3 basic colors, red, white, and black, and make lots of noise. Rosie Fialo, News 8.
And believe it or not, that T-shirt was a small. Okay, souvenir shops are banking on the success of the Trailblazers and the new items. Everything from summer wear to beach towels. And Rosie Fialo is a very small, just as big as a minute. So.
Well, yeah, but she brought me this large T-shirt.
What
This
does that
supposedly is one of the most popular, if not the most popular item.
What does it say, Larry?
It says, "In it to win it." Shows most of the Blazer players, some of the starters, the key reserves, and that's, I guess, the motto for the team this year. They're in it to win it. They're
how
not
much
taking
those go
second
for
place.
now?
This is $12.
Well, that's not too bad. I thought you were going to say in the 20s or something.
No, they're not taking advantage. Now, you get to the NBA Finals, you may see something like that.
Yeah.
The prices will go up.
You're going to get that signed?
I should.
Okay. Coming up, if you're still singing the Rip City Rhapsody, get with it. The new song is Too Hot to Stop.
Your team ain't doodly squat. We'll knock you down on your seat.
Well, playoff fever isn't the only reason this is going to be a red-hot weekend. Portland's entertainment calendar is jammed. Really sing. We'll have evidence in a minute.
Blazers gonna rock it, and it can't stop the Blazers. Too hot to stop it now. Too hot to stop it. Blazers gonna rock it.
Women, take note. Well, last year it was Rip City, Rap City, and this year the Blazers have gotten together with radio station Z100 and in the name of charity have put together a couple of more songs. Well, Z100's Tony Martinez, Buck Williams, and Jerome Kersey, along with some local musicians, have teamed up and recorded 1, 2, 3, Go Rip City, and Too Hot to Stop It. Sales of the music will go to the House of Umoja here in Portland. Of course, they fight gangs. Here's a look at Too Hot to Stop It.
Let's go! Come on, everybody, and let's get the bumpin', 'cause it's Blazer time. Baby, Rip City's jumping like a full-court crush. There ain't a way to break it, so everybody up now. Let me see you shake it. Too hot to stop it. Can't stop the Blazers. Too hot to stop it now. Too hot to stop it. Blazers gonna rock it, and if you wanna win it, then you gotta clap your hands now. You really know we're jamming, 'cause we're ripping up the net. When you stop, pop and drop it, just a breakaway steal. With the slam jam, the top it, gotta have time to lead. A full court grinning, baby, Portland's on fire. Got me Rip City spinning. Too hot to stop it. Can't stop the Blazers. Too hot to stop it now. Can't stop the Blazers. Too hot to stop it. Blazers gonna rock it, and if you wanna win it, then you gotta drop your feet now.
Brindle up the middle.
Your team ain't doodly squat. We'll knock you down on your seat. Seat. So don't try to stop us, baby. Don't try to stop us. We're the Portland Pride, and we want you all to rock it. So everybody up, now we keep getting better. Rip City, shout it all together. Too hot to stop it. Blazers gonna rock it. Too hot to stop it now. Sing it, Jerome. Too hot to stop it. Stop those Blazers. Too hot to stop it now. Too hot to stop it. Let's hear Buck. Sign me up now.
Now, here on my script, Ann, it says Too Hot to Shop.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's too hot. They are available at most Portland area
Did you
music
notice
outlets.
Jerome and his sunglasses there?
Jerome and his sunglasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's your prediction?
Oh, I'm not saying, but I'm wearing my colors.
really?
Okay, that wraps it up for this edition of First to Four. I'm Ann Jagger. Thanks for joining us.
Blazers all the way. Now we go back to the studio where Kathy Smith and Pete Schulberg